Good morning. I want to continue with part 3 of my journey. As I said to you earlier, what my mother had to go through with me. But I also want to share part 3 with you. After my mother kept getting me out of jail and seeing where I was going with my life. So the last time she got me out of jail, I was over there fighting across town. And when she got me out of jail, she brought me home and as we were sitting in the kitchen, she said to me, she said, son, why don't you go in the military and make something out of yourself? And at that time, I was deeply in love with this young lady. And military wasn't something that I even thought about. She said, you know that I'm trying to raise all these kids, your sisters and brothers, and I keep getting you out of jail. And I'm afraid that you're going to kill somebody or somebody going to end your life. You need to join the military. You got to understand, I was getting in trouble. I was 19 years old. So, and it's almost like she was crying. And for see my mother, she don't cry, she was tough. But the expression on her face got my attention. And this is what happened. I didn't tell her anything. The next morning, I got up, I took the bus to New Orleans and took the test. I passed the test, I passed the physical, and the guy said to me, man, we got a date. Now you got to understand, this is like January the 4th. He said, got a date January the 9th. You want that date? I said, no, man, I don't want that date. That's too close, man. I really want to spend a little time with my girl. You know what I mean? Can you schedule it around March? He said, yeah, we can do that. So we done schedule it for March. But I didn't know anything about the boy done contacted my mother and them spilled the beans. So I get back on the bus. I come back to Independence. Now I call myself, I'm going to surprise my mother because she's not going to believe me anyway, even if I told her the truth. I done lied so much to the girl, she tell me, I don't think you know the lie from the truth or the truth from the lie. That's just the kind of lie that I developed with the girl. So I go home and I say, mother, you're not going to believe this. I'm going in the military. Now the girl played me. She said, boy, you ain't going to the military. How can you be going to the military that quick? I said, I went down there and I took the test and I passed it. And now you got to, now I done lied to the girl so much, now I got to go through these rituals. Say you swear to God, boy. Well, swear to God. Now, you swear to God. Cross your heart, boy. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going in the military. Now the girl played me and she know what was going down. And she'd come up and say, oh, by the way, you know that recruiter called me and told me that you passed the test, you done real well, and he got a date that January the 9th, and you don't want that day, and you want to leave in March. I said, yep, now I'm looking crazy. Now, why the boy calling her? She said, I told him, keep January the 9th open if it's still open. Sign him up for January the 9th. All right? Now I'm mad. She telling me to go back down to New Orleans. And now all of a sudden, I didn't have to do anything. Now this is my attitude. Now you're going to tell me what date I'm going to leave to? So I did. I got on the plane, the bus, and went back to New Orleans, signed the date, to leave on January 9th. Now that's my birthday. That was leaving the next week. I don't have time to say goodbye to the girl that caused me to go to jail all the time. So I left January the 9th. Make a long story short, I went through basic training and I did real well. I was always in pretty good shape. But you get a rude awakening the day you get on that plane and say, I do, going down to Lackland Air Force Base down in Texas. I mean, the first day you get on there, it's a rude awakening. Everybody jumping on, these recruiters jumping on. Shut up. Don't just say nothing. Stand up. In other words, I got you in control, boy. You belongs to me now. I don't care what you did out in the street. You're going to straighten up and fly right. You in the military now. So I completed basic training. And the week before basic training, they issued each person an assignment as to what they qualified to do. So they made me a military police. And after basic training, I went to Fort Sam Houston, Texas for military combat training for war. They called it the ACR training. So once I completed that, I went out to California, Vandenberg Air Force Base, California. No, hold up. Once I finished the police academy, they sent me down home for me to go and visit my parents now. They gave me 10 days before I got ready to go to California. Let me show you what happened. I arrived at 7:30 at New Orleans Airport. I arrived back here in Independence around about 11 o'clock. I saw my mother and them. I saw all my sisters and brothers. I had this bald head. Now I'm looking like a soldier now. Had on my brown khakis. I mean, fit to the T. And the first thing, my mother was so proud to see me with that uniform on. And she said, well, what you going to be doing in the military, boy? I said, I'm going to be a military police. And she looked at me and she said, you going to be what? I'm going to be a military police. She said, they must be hard up. All the trouble you done been in, you lying thief. So I said, yep, I'm a military police. She said, but look, son, I'm so proud of you. Please, don't come back here and get back into the same mess you was in before you left. All right. Talked to everybody, took the uniform off, called Jerry Campbell. And I called the other buddy who I worked with before I went to the military. I worked at the steel mill in Amite, and I worked it for Todd. Me and Todd worked together. We traveled together. So I called Jerry and I said, man, meet me across town. And just show you how life worked. I met him across town. And we walked into the place. I own the place now. Look how life worked now. I own the place now. I own it for 7 years now. I walked in the back, me and Jerry. They call it the Fig Alley. I own the building right now. And as we walked in this little alley, my buddy Todd was walking out. And he said, Clayton Jr., man, I'm so glad you done joined. But I know them two wasn't going to say anything to each other because they seeing the same old woman. The woman was twice their age. I don't know what the girl had, but she had these boys under control. So he said, Todd said, look, man, I'm going to see you later. So as he walked away, Jerry Campbell punched him in the head. He took about 4 more steps and he turned around. He reached and got a gun. He had a 22. He was a little distant from him. He shot at him 6 times. On the first and the second shot, Jerry Campbell laid down like he was dead. I done jumped on the side of the fig tree. I'm just shocked about what is taking place. One of the rocks ricocheted, cut me across the eyebrow. So, I'm sitting up here. After he done emptied, he ran around to the police station. He said, I just killed a man. Now, I'm still sitting back here, don't know what's going on. And I'm looking at my friend, Jerry Campbell. And all of a sudden, the boy jumped up. He said, man, guess what? That nigga can't shoot. That nigga need to learn shooting that. Now, I'm sitting up here, I can't believe that this boy just jumped up. So as he jumped up, the police and everybody else coming around by the fig alley. You understand what's happening now? They looking for a dead man. You got to understand, we only had 2 police officers. He said, where is he? And Jerry said, where is who? And Jerry's first thing, he said, man, that nigga can't shoot. He needs shooting. But Todd was in the back of the police cruiser. Now he looking at this saying, I can't believe I didn't kill this dude. And Johnny Lavatina said, Clay Jr., ain't you in the military now? All these times you done got locked up and all the things that your mother doing for you, you mean tell me you coming back and you're getting the same stuff? I knew you in the military. Now, you and Jerry Campbell better get across that river and don't you come back. I'll lock you up. I just took the uniform off the same day. I come home and I tell my mother what took place. And she said to me, you need to get on that plane as soon as you can. You do not need to stay around here no 10 days. That could have been you got killed over there, boy. You done left here, and now you coming back here getting the same stuff, hanging out with the same people. Change your ticket. I changed my ticket. And I went out to California. Show you how things happen. 3 months later, I'm having a nightmare about what took place. And I was in the hallway on a payphone, and I called my mother around 3 o'clock that morning. She said, I said, Mother, I can't sleep. I'm just thinking about what took place. And she said to me, son, who called you? I said, ain't nobody called me. I'm using a payphone. And I asked her, I said, Mother, are you asleep? No, I'm not asleep. I'm trying to figure out who called you. I said, nobody called me. I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. She said, Jerry Campbell just got killed. This time, Todd killed him. You got to understand. This is the guy that saved me from drowning. Jerry Campbell them saved just about everybody across the river. Anybody learned how to swim, they know Jerry Campbell. So, after that, as a military police, when I got to California, I goes into the BX. I still haven't got independent out of me. And I go into the BX, and the first thing I saw, a nice belt. And I called myself trying to steal the belt. But the military got cameras all over the place. They saw me when I walked in. They saw that old belt that I had on, and they know that I bought that old belt back out and hung it up. So I got ready to walk out. So security came up behind me. Could you step back inside? Yep. Where's that belt at? What belt? The belt you took on. I said, I don't know nothing you're talking about, man. Raise your shirt up, boy. I raised the shirt up. Dumbass me had the price tag on the belt. So they knew that I was just coming in, so they said, okay, we're going to release you to your commander, and you're police, and you out here stealing. So they gave me what they call a letter of reprimand. Because one thing I would say about the military, they give you all kind of chances to prove yourself. They go above and beyond the call of duty to keep you in the service for you make it out of yourself. Show you what's happening. From that day, Vandenberg Air Force Base, I was working at a missile range, one of the highest security missile range. You had to go to a main entry. You got to show certain ID cards to get in. I'm a military police, and I had a problem working night shift. Well, obviously, you're going to have a problem working night shift if you stay out hanging out all day long. And I was waving people in, so around about 1 or 2 o'clock, I said, ain't nobody coming in now. These high security guys, outside, I'm going to take me a rest. And all of a sudden, I went to sleep, and all these people trying to get to the gate, and some of them may have already went through. They might have thought, wasn't nobody in there. I'm sitting in that sleep, and all of a sudden, my supervisor came in. You know, as a supervisor, they ride around and check to see if all the police is okay. He came there and noticed that I was slumped over. My gun was on the side, but I was out. He came inside and he took my gun. I didn't even know it. I was just out. So at time he done took enough. So he woke me up. He said, you all right? I said, yeah, I'm all right. He said, where your gun? I said, you got it. How did you know we got it? I saw you. So you saw us take you. Now I'm lying, you know what I'm. They took me in. They took me off duty. Took me off duty. Brought me and gave me an Article 15. I'm going to show you. On normal circumstance, they would court-martial you and kick you out. You are police, and this is what you giving the government, letting people drive through a classified area. So I stayed out in Vandenberg, California, and now they sent me back to ACR school down in Texas. And they didn't tell us where we was going. I went to ACR school and they gave me orders. A whole lot of us orders. And they put us on a plane and had our gear on. All the polices. We're on a C-130. We going to NKP, Thailand. We had our gear on, C-130. So once we got to our destination, only thing we saw was the runway. Long story short, we had so many minutes. Once they let the tailgate out of the C-130 down, we had so many minutes to get out, but we didn't know where we were going. So we found out wind up in NKP, Thailand. And I'm going to say this to you. Look at my life. Once I've worked the perimeter. I've worked the bunkers. I experienced bombing all around me. You got Laotian River, right by me. Cambodia, right by me. So I worked the 12 and 24-hour shift. And believe me or not, when you're working around these perimeters and you're working around a lot of communist group and you don't know who's trying to come in on the base, you don't know if they're trying to bomb you or sabotage the base. As I was there, staying up all these nights, and as I got over there, my first encounter was that I went downtown and we was in a little taxi. And I don't know if you guys have been over in Southeast Asia, those buffalo walked right in the middle of the street. Now this time, this guy hauling ass, he ran into a buffalo. That's my first encounter. This is in Thailand. My second encounter My friend them told me and said, let's go downtown one night. And I said, I don't feel like going. I'm going to stay. We call it the Hooch. I'm going to stay there. It's just I don't know why I stayed there, but it just I didn't feel like going down. So about 2 o'clock in the morning, I hear the knock on the door. We looking for Airman Orline. Yeah, this is me. Could you step out for a minute? We the Red Cross. Come out, they explain to me that my father just passed away. And they wanted to make preparation for me to get back to the United States. And they said, well, get dressed and we'll meet you over here in the rec center and we'll go to the Pacific. And when he told me, he said, your father passed away and give me my condolences and we're going to get you a flight out of here as soon as possible. So they had a flight came in. I took the flight. I came to New Orleans. And before I get into that, that was one of the most flight that I would never forget. As I was on that flight, the flight attendants had to pay special attention to me because I was hurt that my father had passed away. They had to comfort me, calm me down. I just couldn't stop crying because I lost my father. And as I got back to the airport, and then my sister and them came home and said they had passed away, they began to explain a lot of things. I had to attend my father's funeral, but you know, back during that time, the oldest son, you got to stand in front where the body's at. And I'm already in pain and agony, and I don't want to be up there anyway. But about me being the only son, so I sat up there around the coffin. And something tell me, baby, look, a man don't cry, you understand? You got to hold this in, baby, until after the funeral. Now I'm sitting up there doing good. Tough. Now I got one of my crazy aunts. They come up, putting on this show, wanting to tear into the car. Oh, my brother-in-law. Oh, I love you. Now, I done broke down now. Now they got to take me out of the church. My emotion came down. Long story short, spent a few days home, went back. This is where it really got tough. Military police, the minute we get off, either we go to sleep or we go downtown. I had a friend, they called James McKnight, one of the nicest guys you want to meet. Whenever we go and check in and get our weapons and stuff like that, and get our canteens, and he always provided that for us. And so one day, after we got our weapon and stuff, and we got ready to turn our weapon back in, so the commander came and said, did you hear what happened? James blew his head off. We couldn't believe it. And prior to that, James was downtown and he was married to a Thai lady. And they beat him up and did some brain damage to him. And that's why he was limited to the armory. Not only that, one day I was walking downtown, and I'm going to tell you, if you've never been to war zone before, when these bombs start dropping, your heart starts dropping. As I was walking down the Mekong River, the day that I'll take to the day I die, walking down the Mekong River, and I heard all the bombing on the other side. And I looked on the other side, and I seen all these thousands of people along the border. They crying and begging to come across because we was bombing Laos. And the only place that these people had to rescue is to the river. And as I was walking, I heard all these people. Now you got to understand, the Mekong River across from Thailand, to me, it's not even a quarter of a mile. It's almost like you can throw a rock across. And all these people along the border begging to come across. Some of them arm blowed off. Some of them was badly injured because of the bombs and stuff. You got thousands and thousands of boats in the river trying to rescue as many people, trying to get them across. And I went down and I began to start helping them pull people off the boat. And I'm going to say this to you, it hurt my heart. People begging to come over. But when they come over, they don't have no identification. And you get put back on the boat and get back on the other side. That was one of the most saddest things I've ever witnessed in my life. Thousands of people in front of me dying, bombing, and shelling. People coming across, leg blowed off, old people. Just could barely get them in. We got, what I'm saying, if you saw the scene, they had as many boats out there trying to rescue as many people across. I'm going to take that to my grave. Never seen so many people die or suffer through war like that in my life. That happened to me. I was getting ready to leave Thailand after witnessing all this disaster. Me and a little friend of mine called Lil Clayton, we were celebrating coming back to the United States. PCOD, they called it. And we wanted to celebrate our last day in Thailand. And we went downtown, did all our shopping, and we got on these little things they call Samlok. I don't know if you've been to Thailand. You got the little taxis, or you got the little boy that got a bicycle, like a taxi, take you everywhere. I mean, them rascals got some strong legs. So we got on a taxi the day before we got ready to leave. And as we were going downtown, and I looked up and I saw a taxi coming towards us. I mean, this guy was coming. And I said, quick reaction. I pushed Lil John out the buggy and I jumped on the other, but the taxi cab got killed. That car ran right into him. It's the day before we got ready to leave. So I'm just taking you through my journey. So I came back to the United States and I got stationed at England Air Force Base, Alexandria. Show you how things work. I went down and I became the postmaster. I ran the PSC, giving, people mail and all this kind of stuff. I had 4 wrecks down in England Air Force Base. We opened up a bar down on Lee Street, me and 4 military boys. And obviously that caused a lot of disturbance. You got 4 military boys open a bar down on Lee Street, and all the ladies used to come to this bar. It got to a point on Friday and Saturday night, we couldn't get anybody else in. And all the people, the military boys running. Then it got to a place. It became a shootout. We had to close the place down because people were getting killed in that little bar. Down at England Air Force Base, we used to always sit up there and play cards every time we get paid. We started playing cards in the dormitory on Friday night or whatever. And I started winning all the people's money. I lose and I win. So one particular night, I won a lot of money. And one of my best friends, named Terry Carter, Me and that boy were like two brothers. So he done lost all his money to me, but he was playing out of his pocket. And I say, you put up money on the wood, make the game go good. The longer we see it. So he betted $20. And it was time to pay up. I said, hey man, where's the 20? He said, I'll be right back. I'm waiting for him to come back with my $20, so he never came back. I went up to his dormitory. And I knew that he was nervous. I knew that he knew me. I surprised him. I knocked on the door. And he looked out and he saw me. And he ran over down the pillar and got a gun in front. Man, don't come in here, man. Don't come in here. Please, I don't have no more money. So I'm looking at the gun. I'm saying, it ain't worth that $20. So I said, okay, you're not going to pay my money? He said, I don't have it. I just turned around and walked back, but he already know. I was going to go down in the car and get my hardware. I go down and get it. I could have got killed. Come back to his room. He stayed on the 3rd floor. The boy jumped off and got in his car and went to Mississippi and went AWOL because he thought that I was going to kill him. He could have killed me. That's the kind of mentality that I encountered. England Air Force Base. A lot of experience. I lived in the gym. One of my best friends, named John, he got drowned down in Alexander. I got a story. Everywhere I go, there's always something that is not normal. I leave England Air Force Base and I go right back to the same place, NKP, Thailand. They were closing the place down in 74 and 75 when the war was over with. I had to go over there and we had to do inventory, and I worked around the Jolly Greens, and it's quite a nice place to work at. Once I closed it down, I just happened to went back and I was looking for my old girlfriend. And I finally found her. And she was so cracked out. I mean, just like opium and drugs is the most easiest thing in the world to get in Southeast Asia. Everybody was doing it. Smoking, whatever it was. I go back and I close the base down. And my next assignment was Barksdale Air Force Base. Barksdale Air Force Base. They both in Louisiana. Show you how things work. I had 4 wrecks down in England Air Force Base. Now I'm at Barksdale. Everywhere I went to, I've always, some kind of way, either I done ran into somebody or somebody done ran into me. I go to Barksdale Air Force Base. I work to pass an ID. Military police, you giving ID cards out. And stickers in. And never will forget, my 4 Navy friends, they were from New Orleans. They came in and, you give all brands of service stickers. They came in and we gave them stickers, and I had a good friendship with those Navy boys. And so they went home, and all of them was on the way back on US 71, and which is one of the most dangerous roads coming out of Alexander. You got swamps, all kinds of stuff, curves, dark. That's where I almost lost my life at. These boys on the way back, and they went to sleep. On the steering wheel, killed all 4. You got to understand, there's nothing but swamps. They all went to sleep, stayed out all night. And that same 71, I stayed out all night down here in Independence. Now I decided I'm going to go back to my base. I got tired. It was a long drive. And that same swamp on 71, I was tired, I was sleeping, and I thank God that a big truck woke me up. After he blew, I woke up. Oh, now you done see how you done escaped death down in the same swamp that your 4 friends lost. I escaped. Now I leave Barksdale. Now I get ready to go to Italy. Stayed at Barksdale. Ran the post office. I lived in the gym just like I've always had. Now I get ready to get an assignment to go to Italy. I was married during that time. I get to Italy, in the first place I was assigned to the Civil Engineering Squadron, the 40th Civil Engineering Squadron. And the lady who I worked it for, her name was Miss Anna. And Miss Anna was one of the most beautiful old Italian ladies I've ever seen. And she said to me, she said, now the first thing that you're going to have to do, you're going to have to learn how to speak Italian. And I'm going to give you assignment every day. And I think Miss Anna, that was one of the most sweetest old ladies that I've ever met. And every morning that I come in, she would give me about 5 words, she'd give me 10 words. She'll say them in English, then I got to say it in Italian, or vice versa. And then she started taking me to restaurants. You got to understand, I'm the only black guy going through this now. So I kept hanging out, take me to the restaurant. She'd bring the waitress over. She wanted me to order, but I better speak proper. And the waitress, knowing that I was in training, but they would come up to me and she said, say it correctly. She already told them what I'm trying to say. And I give Miss Anna a lot of love. She taught me how to speak Italian. I had a nice career in Italy, but I want to share these things about Italy alone. I ran track. I played football, played basketball, played racquetball. I was a gym rat in Italy. Everyone knew me. I was athletic. You got to understand. This is what happened to me in Italy. After coaching the track and field, I took a team to the Berlin. The same track and field Jesse Owens upset at Hitler. Jesse Owens Stadium. It's in Berlin. I took a group of my track and field kids. I took them to the Berlin Wall. This is when I was in Italy. From Missouri. I was working, I've always lived in the gym. And the General Brown walked up to me and said, hey, sir, can you teach an overweight class? Because they saw me in the gym. Somebody must have recommended. I said, sir, I can give some calisthenics. He said, I don't care what you do. I got about 100 people that need to be enrolled into a fitness program. You know, I couldn't say no to the general. So I said, okay, so they scheduled for a week later. And that Monday, they had to be there 3 days a week. So that Monday, all them rascals showed up. And I mean about 100 or something. If you was 5 pounds within your weight, you got to show up. That first day, man, I'm tell you something. I thought of that whole night. I'm doing push-up, calisthenics, ab, leg. I'm doing all these things. I was in good shape. Man, that first day, man, them guys couldn't even last about a minute. I say, baby, we still warming up. And these rascals walking around, colonels, all these rascals promoting fitness is out of shape. Make a long story short, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That Wednesday, half of them showed up. All of them was soaked, could hardly walk. But they know it was mandatory to be there. So they said, man, man, you trying to kill him. So the word got back to the general. All the ones that didn't show up had to go see him. And he put the old good word. Either you show up or you get put out of service. That's what happened. I was the coach. Basketball, football, anything else. I traveled across Europe. Track and field. I had an opportunity when I was in Italy. My sister Linda came from Amsterdam and spent a week with me. When Linda got stationed in Germany, I spent a week go visit her. Both sister and brother in different countries and met each other in different countries. I want to make sure that I threw that in. So, to show you how things work in Italy, I ran those marathons. I done got a lot of awards. I was the only black person running with them Italians. I ran on that mountain road. I mean, I was addicted to running. And you can believe, you go to Italy, every Sunday, every little town got a little marathon. 3 miles, 5 miles, 10K. I was always in those marathons. And after the race, you celebrate with wine, cheese, bread. And all the kids used to come around me and want to touch me to see if I'm real. They bring a little piece of paper. Because I was the only black person in the race. But they knew that I was competitive. I wasn't fast, but I had a lot of endurance. And I hang with the crowd. That's my career in Italy. Ran with the Italians. They know me in all the bars and the places down there. Once I got divorced, I stayed in a big house on Mountain Road. Big house. Locked in gate. I become very known in Italy. I had a lot of Italian friends all around me. Let me tell you what happened. When I tell you the Italian people are very unique people, I got treated better in Italy than I was treated anywhere I got stationed. The Italians are warm-hearted people. I was a DJ over in Italy. I got in a bad car wreck in Italy. One of the worst car wrecks that you can imagine. If you saw the car, you would say to me, ain't no way nobody lived. They sent a medevac plane. That's how messed up. They didn't have the facility to do the kind of surgery on me. They shipped me, sent a plane, they call it a medevac, flew me from Italy to Germany. And believe me, one of the worst car wrecks than you can imagine. Happened in Italy. I mean, if you see the car wreck, stern wheel broke in half. The two headlights touching each other. The engine thrown in the back of the car. My chest swelled up. I'm bleeding to death. But God was with me. I just want to know. After staying in the hospital, I came back to my home. The old lady who I rented the house from, she must have been about 85, 90. She came over and every morning, she had a key to my house. She'll open up the door and she'll bring me some food, soup. I mean, this old lady, lunchtime and at night, She'll come see me 3 times a day. I mean, I'm just being honest. This woman, I loved her. All the neighbors loved me. See, I'm just telling you my experience in Italy. And let me tell you what else happened. When I was in Italy, I traveled all across the country playing racquetball. I started my racquetball career in Italy. I was always in the gym. And these old men used to come and say, why don't you play a man game, boy, instead of playing that little sissy basketball game? And I've always looked at the game. Every time the game was over, I go down and look. And but I never could make sense out of it. So one day I decided that I was going to go down there and play racquetball. And the guy made me look pretty bad. But I really liked the strategy of it. It tests your endurance, your quickness, your reflex. So I went down and the first time the boy made me look bad. Made me run. So I liked it. Then I came, played another day. I liked it. Then all of a sudden, I told them, boy, if I ever learn this game, boy, you'll never beat me. After about a year, I got a job in the gym. I open the gym, I open it and close it up. It's just a part-time job. From 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, the gym was open. I had to be there in the closing. And I loved the game so much until once I closed up, I started going down there, working on my stroke by myself. And I had an old guy they called Chief Fenton. He liked me. He said, man, you got a lot of potential quick. And he began to teach me how to set up on the ball. And Chief Fenton was one of the toughest old men. He'd been playing for years. So after I got to playing for a while, me and him began to play doubles. Make a long story short, after we started playing doubles, it became good. And that one guy came from another base, and they was winning the championship for the last 4 years. Me and him played for the first time at San Vito. Long story short, I beat the boy. The chief taught me how to use strategy on this scumbag. I beat him, and the top two go to Spain. Me and him went to Spain. He took second, I took first. We go to Spain. I won there. Now you get ready to go a little bit higher to the CSC. I get in the CSC, which is all Europe. And guess what? I go to Germany. All of a sudden, that's where the big dogs was at. Got one they called Baptiste and Carl Jones. Now, them boys been playing in tournaments all over Europe. I goes up there, and them boys put a whooping on me, baby, I ain't never seen before. Everybody up there sitting up there, looking at the game, and I thought I was pretty good until I got to that level. You're only good at the level you're at. So, that boy beat me pretty bad. The saddest thing about the whole thing, that was the little Chinese dude was in the tournament, and we was all laughing at him because he had a funny little pad. Didn't look like a racquetball racket, but it was the smallest, and we kept laughing at him. He got such a smooth groove. He got ready to play Baptiste, was the European champion. That boy beat Baptiste just on strategy alone. Strategy alone. And I'm going to say this to you. My best career was in Italy. I learned my fitness career. Then I started teaching fitness on the outside. And let me share this last story with you. Show you how God was good to me. One day I was working Civil Indian Squadron. This old lady came out, and I just happened to be walking out of my office around 4:30. And I just happened to stop. I said, ma'am, can I help you? She said, I'm looking for anybody American that want a bedroom. I said, I'm giving it to him. I said, I don't know anybody right now, but I can look around. So she said, I don't want the money. I want to give it to an American. So I said, well, where you live? She said, I stay right up the road. And if I find somebody, I'll let you know. All right? All right. So the next morning, the next day, I go upstairs. And I hear somebody, hey, man, I got an old lady out here looking for a black guy. She don't know his name. And it just so happened I know who they were talking about. I go downstairs and I meet this old lady, and I told her I found somebody who wanted. And we set up an appointment, me and a guy called King. We went and picked up the bedroom. And this old lady, very nice, but she was unusual. So I thanked her, and make a long story short, a week later, she came back to civil engineering. She said, I'm looking for, I don't know a name, black man. So people came up there and say, hey, this old lady looking for this black man. I go downstairs, she done bought me a bag of cheese, she done bought me a little bag. And I thanked her. And all of a sudden, she was bringing me a little gift. She must have been close to maybe 89, 90. And so I began to love this old lady. And I began to get close to her as a mother. So I know she wasn't able to drive, so I took her to the market before I went to work. She stayed right up the road. Take her to the market, and all the Italian people kept looking at me. What is this old lady doing with this black man? I wanted this boy some kind of gigolo. So everybody know this old lady, but they know it's unusual for her to be walking with a black man. So I make a long story short. I took her. She introduced me to all of the people. When they saw me in the market, hey. All right? I didn't know who I was dealing with. So I began to, whenever she wanted to go to, I took her. And all of a sudden she said, I want to write your mother. She got someone to translate a letter to my mother and say, don't worry about your son. I'll take care of him. That's my son. See how things work? Every time I looked up, this old lady was showcasing me off, telling everybody I was her son. So one day, I went over and dropped her off. And the next door neighbor said, hey, mister, can I talk to you? I said, yes, ma'am. What do you know about this lady? I said, I don't know. She's a nice lady. She said, she is a very rich woman. She don't trust nobody. And we just wanted to know who you were. And I told her I was military. She said she thinks so much about you. And I'm going to write your mother a letter and tell her all the things that. So one day, make a long story short, after about 6 months, she walked up to me and she was crying. She said, I don't know what she said, Sergeant or my son. She said, I'm leaving. I'm going to go stay with my son in Rome. And again, I didn't know much about her. But she said, I want to give you something. And she was crying. I started crying. She said, but I want to give you something to remember me. She began to give me all these paintings. Old paintings. She gave me a radio. Over 300 years old. She started giving me things that I know is sentimental value. She called her son from Rome. She had been talking about me. He flew down from Rome. And he said, my mother told me about you, and I appreciate you taking care of my mother. He said, I'm the president of the Alitalia, of the flight that goes to New York from Italy. And if you ever need a flight, let me know. I'll fly you there and back. And he got comfortable with me, and he just wanted to know who I was his mother was talking about. So after gathering all this, and the day when I got ready to leave, and I went and saw this old lady, and man, it was like the worst feeling in the world. She was crying and she was holding me and saying, Alain, good Lord, I love you. Man, that was a hurting feeling. As I said to you, I had the best time in my life in Italy. Those Italian people treat me like royalty. I never ran across an Italian, even though they probably are, but all of them was very, very nice to me. And I want to have my next segment. That's when my career in Italy. It was the best career. I visited many countries, and I thank God for the time that those two old ladies was there for me during my accident and during my coming. It must be God that drew these two ladies close to me. And before I say this, before I close out, there's another story I want to tell you happened to me in Italy. I was investigated by the FBI. I was very popular over in Italy. They came to me and they arrested me. And they charged me for selling classified information, which I was not in possession of classified information. They gave me polygraph tests. They told me that I was over there for a long time, and I didn't realize that they was following me everywhere I went. I didn't hang out with a lot of Americans. I hung out myself. I get on the train, I go to Venice, I go to Naples, I go down to Verona, I go everywhere by myself. I didn't have no fear. And there's something that these people thought that I was getting too popular over there. So when they took me down and they came back and gave me a polygraph test to prove whether I was innocent or guilty, and the guy that came from Washington, D.C., from the FBI, he said to me, he said, let me give you a couple of tests, but I want to be honest with you. We got to start from somewhere. We're not saying that we're accusing you, but you're the only one got the name close to A-line. I'm looking for A-line. Your name is R-line. And that's the closest database we have. They hooked me to the polygraph test, found out that the test came back negative. They showed back at my office them same four FBI agents. They took me into the commander and they told me what their finding was, and they apologized for sending me through all the trouble that I had to go through. And he said, well, we had to start them somewhere. A-line and R-line is close. And that's why we pick you up, and you're very known over here in Italy. So afterward, the OSI, Office of Special Investigation, they tried to entrap me in every little thing. But since they couldn't, they offered me a job to be an OSI. And I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take it. I want to thank you for listening to my military career. I'm going to stop in Italy. And then I'm going to take you to another journey. How things work. How God have blessed me to be this far. Thank you for listening. May God bless you.